All right, well, welcome to the class. My name is Professor Shafts, and I'll try to make this as fast as I can. I know you guys have busy schedules. In the event that you hear a dog barking, it is my golden doodle. His name is Elton, and he is quite an interesting dog. He comes from Lancaster, PA. He's 2 years old, and his mother was 65 pounds. His father was 8 pounds, and he is a medium golden doodle, and he was created through artificial insemination, which is a big thing going on right now. I don't know if we have any veterinarian students in the past. I've been doing this such a long time. A lot of my students are veterinarians or veterinarian students. Also, we have a lot of pre-med, doctors, everybody. So it's really a great class, and we got a lot of people. We got a lot of work to do. But I have to be honest with you, this class, the way it's structured now, is far easier than it was when I first started. And when I first started, there were two 500-word discussions every week. There were three 200-word peer discussions every week. There was also a paper every week that was 6 or 7 pages. So anyway, bottom line, and then at the end of the session was a big giant paper. So we've changed a lot of things in order to kind of give you a fast track of what's happening in marketing and management. So I'm just going to I know it's like the worst thing you could possibly do is read slides and or have more than 5 or 6 things on slides. I'm not going to read every one, but the reason why this slide is out first is because this is the information that most students forget, or they don't read my announcements. And we'll talk about that in a minute, why my announcements are so important. Not that I need that control, but there's a lot of information that you need to have that's not included in the class that's going to really help you get a better grade. I can also tell you that whoever watches the orientation usually does get 1 grade better because they feel a little bit more comfortable as to what's going on. All right, so avoid using quotes. Quotes I find many students use to pad their paper. I've seen people change the margins, all of that. Your papers you don't have a ton of papers in this class. Towards the end, you will. Last major assignment is a paper, and it's very cool, and I will give you a ton of resources, so not to worry. Resources need to be peer reviewed. We'll go over what that is. No resources before 2014. Originality is checked, and if your paper is over or whatever you're doing is over 35%, I usually return it the first time. Now I give you templates, so those will already take some of that percentage up. However, I look at every paper and I look at the originality score. And because it highlights it for me, which I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute, I know exactly. If I see that 15, 20, 25% of your paper is the template that I provided, that is all justified. Class is 6 weeks, 5 days. Trust me, this goes so fast, you will be just blown away. No tests. We have no tests in this class. This is a research class, so you're going to be doing a lot of research. You are graded. I grade you on competency, even though you have points in this class. Some students will, and I've seen it happen a couple of times, so I'm just going to let you know. They will get A's all the way through, through the class, and they look at their work and they go, gee, if I don't turn in the final paper, I could still get a B plus in the class. And So, why should I spend those days? We allow you a week and a half, basically, so you can imagine how much it's research heavy is required. And you have nothing else to do that week. You have a week and a half to do this 6 to 8 page paper. Although I've had students, turn in a paper that was 10, 12, 15 pages. It all depends on, on you and how much information you can get in you. And again, I'll talk about that in a minute. What happens if you don't turn in the final paper? You fail the class. Okay, that's it. It's just cut and dry. Read the syllabus. I'm not telling you anything that's coming from me. It's from the school. It's in the syllabus. No final paper, fail the class. Okay, not an incomplete. You got to take the entire class again. If you've taken this class again, you can't use anything you've used previously, or you can't use anything that you've used in other classes, because that's going to come up in your originality score. So fresh, new, and honestly, this stuff isn't that hard. I'm telling you, it's your first class. I'm here really to make sure you're ready to move on. And I'm going to give you a lot of the basics that you're going to need to move forward. The school uses Kaltura, and almost every classroom here and is going to use it. So it's a good idea, if your computer doesn't work with it, to find a way that it can, or you can download it. Maybe you go to a library, maybe you have a friend who has a computer. Okay, so late discussion videos. If you don't turn in your video tonight, you get a 0. Once again, please read the syllabus. I didn't write the syllabus. The dean of the school and the people involved in writing the class wrote the syllabus. So if you come to me and say, hey, oh, please, or, I've heard so many excuses. I had a student that called me up and said that she couldn't turn in the final paper because she was incarcerated for shoplifting. I mean, I'm serious about this stuff. I had another student who said she was shot 9 times. So I called my friend and I said, doctor, obviously, and I said, hey, man, I got this student that was shot 9 times. Wouldn't you think that they would be in the hospital? And he said, no. We only admit people in the hospital when they're shot 10 times. So no excuses. Back up everything. And I mean, really, anything you do, back it up onto a little USB drive. That means you could be anywhere in the world. And we do have people in other countries taking this class with you. I think we have somebody in Mexico, and I've had students in Dubai and in Germany, the Philippines, South America. So it's quite possible that Puerto Rico is another place that I had a couple students actually. Very cool. Also, a lot of you may be on islands in the Caribbean, and in the event of inclement weather, your internet goes down or any of that stuff, that's completely a valid, excuse. I've been there for the last 8 years. I've been doing this. I quite understand. I had a student who woke up and a scared donkey was jumped in the window, and it took them a long time to get that donkey out of the room. A lot of medical schools. Also, I don't know if any of you are in the Cayman Islands. I've got veterinarian students, doctors, pre-med, everybody. So we got lots and lots of people that are going to really, and I promise you, you're going to get so much out of this class. And down the road, you'll be taking another marketing class, an advanced one. you really, really, really can get a lot out of it. I'll help you and give you some ideas later. Let me make a little note. I'm going to give you a little hint of things you could do right now that you can think about. I'm not asking you to do any more work than you need to. APA formatted in-text citations required. I'm going to give you templates along the way. You don't even have to think. All you have to do is fill it in. Don't change it. Just look at the table of contents and go, oh, now I know what I have to do. That's how I'm going to grade you. If you've fulfilled each requirement for each assignment. Contact me only in the class in course messages. The reason for that is that in the event that I'm unavailable, the chairman or dean or my course lead can get in and read any kind of correspondence, and we have an audit trail. If you send it to my email, the Davenport email, they can't get into that. That's proprietary. And let's get started. I think if you, let's see. Let me just do this. Can everybody see the screen? Is everything clear? Yeah, okay, good. Thank you very, very much. Now, if I don't know how to pronounce a lot of your names, forgive me. This is not something that's new. I have had, like I said, I have students from all over the world, and, sometimes it's difficult because I don't know the different, the different pronunciations. So if I say your name incorrectly, forgive me. Just know that I'm honored that you're taking this class. And I think if you ask anybody that's taken a class with me, they'll tell you that I'm really fair and I'm not that difficult of a grader. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for you to complete the assignments, to make sure your grammar is correct, that you follow the requirements of the assignment. As far as this tiny little detail that you didn't do this or you didn't, like you didn't, I don't know, you didn't have, when we do the SWOT analysis later on, that, you only had 2 opportunities. If they're good, strong opportunities, then I'm cool with that. So I don't want to restrict you. If it says 6 pages and you want to write 15, do it. Now, when we say 6 pages, you'll understand in a minute what I mean by 6 pages. Those are written pages. Those don't include the title page, the table of contents, and the resources. So here's where you're going to get a hold of me in course messages. So where do you find that? And it's in the left panel. And I've given you instructions in the class, in the announcements, but all you do is you go to Blackboard and you'll do it right here. And you get all this other stuff. All right. So you're having problem with your class, Kaltura, right here. Help resources. It's right in the class. I don't know any of the technical aspects of it. I know that, students do have occasional issues, and tech support is there for that reason. You are not the only ones in this school using this program. Everybody is supposedly using it in the master's classes. So you can do it online. You can call them. They're very cool. I call them all the time. If I get locked out, something happens. It happens. Stuff happens. So, that's really cool. Now, I'm going to stop and just give you a little thing. Next week is week 2, and I will totally be present. However, my daughter is graduating next Saturday with her MBA. So there's a lot of excitement in our house. I'm not married, but, my dog and I and my best friends and my girlfriend, and we all share this joy. And she worked really, really hard. And, You know what? It went by so fast. And I don't know, as mine did, as my other degrees did. So, you know, you've done it. It goes by so fast. So the best thing is don't look at it as work. Look at it as joy, as what you can do. I'll just give you an example. Um, uh, why should you read every announcement? Well, first of all, I reserve the right to adjust things, and I do. Why do I adjust them? To make it easier for you. And I also send you a bunch of announcements. If they're duplicates, just forget it. It's not just the people that read it. I'm trying to build awareness. In marketing, we call it frequency. And the more times you are exposed to a presentation, the percentage goes up that you're going to actually read it. I'm doing my best, okay? I'm going to annoy you with announcements, but I'll reward you with, really good grades if you do the work. All right, so, if it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. Why do I keep talking about excuses? I got to tell you something. Out of every class that I teach, I would have to say 85% of the class gets A's, and there's always one or two people that get F's. I could never figure that out. Why are you here if you're not going to do the work? Okay? Why be here? That just mystifies me. All right. So, who am I? Here I am in Greece, standing in front of a temple of Aegean on the Aegean Sea near a town called Volyameni. I'm not Greek, obviously. What am I? I'm Russian of heritage, and second generation U.S. I'm an online adjunct professor. And my students come from all over the world. What is my background? Wow, that's an interesting one. Okay, I was the executive director of marketing for Universal Pictures. I worked on the marketing of over 400 feature films, including Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, just a lot of films. And you can go to my website and check it out. I was very, very fortunate to have that 25 years. I've owned companies. I was a director of marketing, United States, EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Asia, for a technology company. I know this stuff. I really do. And I know these assignments. And, what I'm going to ask is, before you write me, I'm not a kiosk, okay? Look and see where everything is. And if you really can't get an answer after reading the announcements and the assignments, then contact me. Make an effort to do it. And it'll be cool. I'm serious. You'll get it. First of all, you'll get it after week 1. Week 2 is going to go, oh my gosh, this is a cakewalk. Although in week 2, you got a big paper that you have to do by the end of the week. So you can look ahead. I always look ahead to see what the assignments are. Also, there's going to be a shift in the calendar. This looks so bizarre. Even I was freaked out to see this. But anyway, we will be week 1 and week 2 are pretty normal. On week 3, you're going to start segmentation, which is talking about marketing, a SWOT analysis. That's not segmentation. Well, okay. SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then notice on the 23rd, it says day 4 and 5. Well, there is no day 5. Then there's nothing to do on the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. When you come back actually in the class, don't do anything. It says don't do anything. Don't do anything unless you want to do something. or you want to get ahead of the game, be my guest. But you are not required to do anything those 4 days. You come back on the 6th, and all your work is now due on Wednesdays. So it's no longer Sunday. So there's a big shift. So now week 4 starts on Thursday, week 5 starts on Thursday, week 6 starts on Thursday, and week 7 starts on Thursday. This class ends on a Monday. So make sure you're tuned into this. You know I'm going to get students say, yeah, I thought it was due Sunday. No. This is regulated by the school. Okay, now I got through that. You can download that. That's in announcements. Okay, syllabus, read it. Plagiarism, you've already sent me a thing, which basically you have acknowledged that you know what plagiarism is and the penalty there, you know, what it is. And so if you do have forms of plagiarism, we'll discuss it down the road, whether it's intentional, unintentional. That's why I tell you to avoid quotes, because that really takes your non-originality score way up. Know when each assignment is due, rubrics and standards. We have all of that in the class. APA, proper use of APA is critical. Again, I'll show you all of that. So you're going, oh, I don't know how to do this. I haven't done APA in years. Don't worry about it. We'll go through all of it, or there's a million resources on the internet. Communicate. If you don't understand something, ask. Keep up. It's not a 7-week class. It's a 6-week, 4 or 5 day class. Ask questions. Others may have the same concerns. Reach out to other people. You know, if you want, you can get somebody else's email address and say, hey, would you read my paper? Take a look at it. You could be study buddies. I don't care. Everything you do is proprietary for you. There's not going to be, at the very end of the class, you're all going to do one assignment, which I'll explain, a marketing plan. But that would be the only one that you would all be doing the same. Everything else is companies and products that you choose. Okay, so email me only in course messages so we have an audit trail. All right. Can you follow instructions? I know do we have anybody on cell phones now? Okay, try this. Let's try an online magic trick. Are you ready? Take your finger and place it on any one of the circles that you see on your screen. You want to change it? Go ahead. If you're going to change it now. But now, hold your finger wherever it is and listen carefully to what I tell you. You should be on any one of the circles that you see on your screen. All right, now move your finger left or right to the nearest diamond. I'll wait a second for you. You got it there? Okay. Now I want you to move your finger up or down to the nearest circle. Okay, did you do that? Great. Now listen very carefully. I want you to move your finger diagonally to the nearest diamond. Okay, good. All right, and finally, move your finger left or right to the nearest circle. And I should have no idea where it arrived. Wow. If you got the little red circle, then you followed instructions carefully and done it. It's kind of a cool little trick, isn't it? And you're probably going to wonder how I do it. It's magic. All right, Kaltura. It is not necessary for you to be on camera, just your PowerPoint narration. Make sure your references are not older than 5 years. Hold the final slide with resources for about 15 seconds. You will be presenting another video in weeks 2 and 4. The deadline is Thursday, week 1, day 4. That's today, but also remember we have a calendar shift. So make sure you know that. Original response. I don't know what that is. Don't even worry about this. Forget it. It's from an old class. All right. Grammar. If I can't understand it, I can't grade it. So if your grammar is missing words like, Professor Schatz, who and this, and your I's are not capitalized and you don't have the right, punctuation and you're missing words and all that stuff, I'm going to send the paper back and have you correct it. Then it's late. Okay? Grammar check it. Have some, if your English is your second language, just find somebody to check it. And not that you need to pay for it, but my grammar isn't the best. You're going to see a lot of mistakes. But when I was in school, I had a service that checked all my work, or I read it 15 times. So these are giving you kind of like a head start. Grammarly, White Smoke, and Scrivens. I use all three of them because I do evaluations, and I start with Grammarly. I go to this one, and then I go to that one if it's working. It's not always working. They're kind of a strange company, but they do show me where my writing could be improved. All right. Remember I was talking about, here's what it looks like. So if you use White Smoke, this is what it is. You see all those little green things? It's correcting the, my whatever it is, my submission, and gives me a lot of other information. But again, these things aren't always right. So remember that. Proof your work. So in week 1, you're going to investigate the management style and structure of select organizations. And you should have already done all of this. This is the memo that's due on Sunday. You're selecting a business leader that you would like to research during this course. Must be alive and does not need to be someone famous. If you do someone famous, you're probably going to find more information on them. So hint, 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 hint. Now, for me, if it was me in the class, some of the people that I would pick would be like Jeff Bezos, or does it say must be alive? Oh, okay. So I can't use I can't use my buddy from Apple. But anyway, bigger, better, more information. If it's like Irving Feinfeld, who happens to be my eye doctor, I don't know. How do you prove that the information that you're providing is real? Okay, you're responsible for that. So might be a good idea to do something that we all know, a person that we all know. Who leads a business, or a nonprofit organization. No governmental leaders. I can tell you a few that I wouldn't use. Write a memo indicating who you will be researching using for your management analysis report. So you're going to pretty much commit now. Please provide a brief overview of the person, organizations they lead, and why you have chosen this individual. It's a professional memo format, 1 page in length. I don't know anybody who turns in 1 page. They usually go a page and a half. And I have provided a template in the class. So look in announcements. I just got the hiccups. That's the first I've ever done. Okay, so I thought I had a picture of the template. Let's see. No. Okay, anyway, the template is in the class. We'll talk a little bit more about APA in a few minutes. Everybody okay so far? Good. Okay. I just want to keep you entertained. And you keep me entertained with your exciting papers. So here's what we're going to do now, just take a little breath of air. What I like to do is I like to challenge my students by letting them know that I could teach them marketing concepts in 2 minutes. Now, some instructors, they take 12 weeks to learn to teach their students marketing concepts. I can do it in 2 minutes. So I'd like you to sit back and watch this 2-minute video. Don't take notes, but listen carefully. Oops, sorry.
Marketing concepts in 2 minutes. You see a gorgeous girl at a party, you go up to her and say, "I'm very rich, marry me." That is direct marketing. You are at a party with a bunch of friends and see a gorgeous girl. One of your friends goes up to her and pointing at you says, "He's very rich, marry him." That is advertising. You see a gorgeous girl at a party. You go up to her and get her telephone number. The next day you call and say, "Hi, I'm very rich, marry me." That is telemarketing. You are at a party and see a gorgeous girl. You get up and straighten your tie. You walk up to her and pour her a drink. You open the door of the car for her, pick up her bag after she drops it, offer her a ride and then say, "By the way, I'm rich. Will you marry me?" That is public relations. You are at a party and see a gorgeous girl. She walks up to you and says, "You are very rich. Can you marry me?" That is brand recognition. You see a gorgeous girl at a party. You go up to her and say, "I'm very rich, marry me." She gives you a nice hard slap on your face. That is customer feedback. You see a gorgeous girl at a party. You go up to her and say, "I am very rich, marry me." And she introduces you to her husband. That is demand and supply gap. You see a gorgeous girl at a party. You go up to her and before you say anything, another person come and tell her, "I'm rich, will you marry me?" And she goes with them. That is competition eating into your market share. You see a gorgeous girl at a party. You go up to her and before you say, "I am rich, marry me," your wife arrives. That is restriction for entering new markets.
That's it. Now, just to make sure that I qualify this, it could be a gorgeous guy at a party. So either one, whatever. In my case, it would be, I don't know, I don't have a choice. People are people. All right. How did I get into this? Oh my gosh. I'm going to slap my face and call me Judy. Okay. So late homework. What do we do about that? Look at that little cutie puppy. The late policy does not apply to participation points on the form or Kaltura. So if you don't turn in an assignment tonight, you get a 0. There's no making it up. The late policy does not apply to the final paper, but the late policy does apply to any written assignment, which there's not that many. So each day you lose 10% of the grade that you would have earned. In the first week, you're not going to, I think your paper's worth 20 points. I don't even remember, not much. Okay, the only 7 everything is in standard time. That's just what I just said. Okay. Back up everything. I cannot tell you how many times I have had students say, "My computer crashed, I lost everything." It's not my fault. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Take it on that little, USB thing, and you could carry it with you anywhere you go. You can use any computer because everything is online. Okay, if there's extenuating circumstances, contact me. Computer issues don't count. Please arrange your backup plan prior. From time to time, students have problems with Blackboard. We understand that. Okay, so just communicate with me. But don't send me a note that says, "Professor Shafts, I'm sorry I couldn't put in my assignment. I had an ear infection on Sunday, and I couldn't use my hands, and my eyes couldn't see. And I'm going to like get my guitar out and write a song. Look, don't wait to the last minute to do your assignments. Start now. You could start week 2 today. I'm not in any restriction. Do it when you can. The thing of it is, when you get later into the class, it's going to be a little more complicated because you're going to have to wait for other students to post before you can respond to them. But excuses, oh my gosh. I had a student that I had her 4 different classes. The first class, she wrote and said, Professor Shapps, my grandmother died. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get my paper in. I said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Okay. 6 months later, I had her in another class. Professor Shapps, my grandmother died. I can't turn in my paper. And I thought, wow, maybe it's just the other grandmother now. Third class, Professor Shapps, my grandmother died. I can't turn in my paper. Now I'm starting to get suspicious. Gee, 3 times. Fourth class, Professor Shapps, my grandmother and my grandfather died. Oh my gosh. I mean, who knows? Who knows? She should have used the excuse that she got shot 9 times. It probably would have worked. Okay. Grammar, punctuation, spelling, proof your work carefully. You will be rewarded if you turn in papers with poor grammar. Not. All right. So we've had a student already submit. This is the first submission of their paper or their video. And I'm not sure you've seen anybody else's videos in the class yet, but here's what we're going to do. It's 4 minutes long. What do we got on time? Okay, we'll try to get this all wrapped up soon. At least 45 minutes from now. Here's what I want you to do. Listen to her video. This video, I'm going to tell you now, is going to get 100%. So you know what 100% video looks like. Listen to her video. Listen to the way she's doing her work. The first one, so if you've turned yours in already, I'm not selecting. Just like this morning, I picked, there was only 1 in there, so I took it. And then think about, and don't tell me, but think about what you could say to them. How would you respond to them? Did you like it? For example, we always, when you do your peer response, always start off with their name. And, we have a thing called the cookie technique, the Oreo cookie technique. Start off by saying everything that you liked about it. Then in the middle, which is, you have a chocolate cookie, and then you have that fluffy, stuffy middle white stuff. And that would be your criticism or even more of what you liked or any hints or anything like that. And then you end it with a really nice note. I really liked it. You really did a great job. I appreciate it. Okay? That is what we're looking for. Let's look at it together.
What are newer trends in management style? So we know that there are 4 functions in management. 1 is planning, which involves meeting goals for an organization or company. 2 is organization, which includes the designation of resources to attain goals. 3 is leading. This involves encouraging employees to have high performance once a goal is sought. And 4, controlling, which allows for oversight of goals and provides monitoring. The one function I would like to focus on is leadership. One reason being that leadership plays a large role in an organization's ability to be innovative, effective, and efficient. As we know, leadership can make or break an entity, and it is encompassing. In my research, I have found that leadership has become increasingly popular for several reasons. One, leadership is seen as one of the most important factors affecting organizational change. And two, depending on the style of leadership, it allows for trust between employee and management. Leadership is also a source of centralized command where you can organize and lead towards one common goal. It grants the freedom for innovation, which is key for organizational success, and ushers in change without much friction. But the change could also be a con, but we'll experience that and understand that a little bit later. Leadership arises in different varieties, whether it's manager, coordinator, or facilitator. There's a sense of increased responsibility along with the detail of that specific job. For example, medium-tiered managers provide support for frontline supervisors, all while reporting to higher management. The leadership role may differ, but the responsibility is the same. Leadership styles, whether transactional, transformational, or relaxed, can influence the outcome of an organization. Leadership is attractive for some companies because if it's in the right direction, it gives free rein for individuality and innovation of a company. Some sources state leaders are more successful when likable but not liked, because being liked can leave room for conflict of interest. As I researched this, I realized that there are both pros and cons to having leadership and emphasizing it as a new trend in a growing business. So there are both pros and cons of emphasizing leadership and management. On one hand, if the leader is sufficient, there will be smooth movement for an organization with positive outcomes. The leadership in question can be innovative and bring about continuous change for the organization. The cons, however, are detrimental. The cons can lead to stifling of ideas, can lead to lack of innovation and cease of change. The idea of social corporate responsibility is lost if the leadership of the company is failing the company. If a leader can no longer engage the functions of management, how can they nurture and have a positive impact on society? How can they foster an environment that improves their global and local community? In conclusion, I believe the trend of emphasizing leadership is risky and it is highly possible for failure in many facets. Failure to support employees, failure for change, failure for innovation, and failure in corporate social responsibility is a consequence if the leadership is not in the right track and no longer viable for that company.
And our resources. Excellent, 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 excellent. So that is a perfect discussion. Okay? She covered everything. It doesn't have to be professional. She could have put a few more slides in. It doesn't make any difference. Competency. Totally got it. Okay? Need an understanding. So we talk about peer review. What does that mean? Let's just give you a quick overview. Maybe.
This tutorial explains what peer review means. During the essay crunch, where you get piles of assignments, you might get an essay assignment that asks for peer-reviewed articles only for your sources. You may wonder, what's the difference and why are these articles important? Peer-reviewed articles are generally articles that have been reviewed in detail by scholars in the same field. But how does a peer review article get published in a scholarly journal? Well, your professors do more than just teach. They also play the role of a researcher and often must produce new research. Their research can vary depending on their field, from physics to the study of the human body, or the economy to philosophical ponderings of Socrates, and can be published in a book or journal. Some of this research requires funding. Once the professor or professors, some do work together, have findings and interpret the results, they can produce a paper for submission. Scholarly research can take several years and is a long process. Once the paper is written, the researchers or your professors will send it to a journal that undergoes the peer review process. Please keep in mind, not every journal has a peer review process. The editor reviews the submission and ensures that it fits the journal's scope or topic area. If it does, the editor sends out copies to other scholars in the field. These scholars are experts in the subject and have already published their own work. These scholars are also the peer reviewers. It is important to note that you may hear the term referee, which is another way of saying peer reviewer. When the scholars are reviewing the article, the major questions that they ask are, is the research new and interesting to scholars in the field? Are there mistakes in the results or writing? Does the research and results make sense? The reviewers send their notes back to the editor, and the editor decides if the paper should be published in the journal. If it is accepted, the editor will send back an article with corrections and notes that the researcher must make changes to. Most articles are rejected by prominent journals, so the process of review is quite tough. Once the article is published in a journal, a library that pays for a subscription to the journal may receive the most recent publication. If you need more help in understanding peer review or research, please visit the Learning Commons.
All right, so obviously you're not going to find peer-reviewed resources for everything. Do the best you can. Now, a company's website, okay, so Amazon.com, their corporate website is okay. Never use WikiLeaks or anything like that, or Wikipedia WikiLeaks. Oh my gosh, that is too funny. Oh my gosh. And and don't use anything published by the United States government and investigations. Okay, so anyway, WikiLeaks. Oh yeah. Where did that come from? Wikipedia, and or don't use any paper mills or any of that stuff. It'll all show up. All right, so this is what a peer response looks like. Okay, so this is a long one. I mean, you probably, if you wanted to write 150, 200 words, you're okay. But I'm just giving you an idea of what it's going to look like. So, hi, I enjoyed your presentation, and you know what's going on. Just be nice, and if you want to bring additional information into it, that's awesome. We're here to educate each other. You educate me, and I try to do the same. No bozos, I guess. Oh, okay, so here's what that format is going to look like for your memo. You can see that I'll give you this template. You just erase this stuff in here. This is what we call fake type. Okay, and notice I put here it's always better to do a little bit more. Go on to the next page. You know what? It just shows that you're interested. Always do a little bit more. The first couple of weeks in any of your classes, my daughter and I had this conversation about it. And she said, you know what, Dad, you're absolutely right. She said all the students that worked really diligently and got A's the first couple of weeks continue to get A's even though they didn't do their best work. Why is that? Well, think about it. An instructor, first of all, they want to identify people that need help. If we don't need to help you, then we don't need to follow you. And a lot of times, I read really quick. I can scan a paper so fast. I look for keywords. I know exactly where to go. Yeah, I rarely start at the top. I go to the middle or to the end. I look at conclusions. But after a few weeks, I kind of get where you're at, and the attention isn't as direct. Where other people who have grammar errors and things like that, you know what? They're here too to learn, and if I could help them. If you don't need any help, and you're meeting the competency of the thing, why should I sit and criticize you? I'm not going to do that. It's not necessary. So just remember that. I'm a good guy when you do my review. just say he was a great instructor and just give me like fives on everything and that he should be the president of the school. No. I don't want to do that. No. I want to teach this class because I love teaching at this school. This is the greatest school. And I've taught a lot of schools. And they're terrific. Oh my gosh, these people are fantastic. You are in the right place. Plagiarism will not be rewarded. This is a biggie in college. We see this all the time, especially in master's classes. You know, they don't have a lot of time, students, they just take it and think they can get away with it. But everything that you submit goes through a plagiarism or originality checker. The final marketing paper, do not write a contiguous essay, use my template, create small little essays under each topic, make sure every paper you do in this class has a table of contents, and I will supply you with a template. Okay, so your final paper is going to be about guitars. And you are a guitar manufacturer, and you came up with this new idea of this guitar, and you're going to spend a week and a half answering a ton of questions as to how you're going to market it. Now, get ready. When you see the questions, you'll understand why it's going to take a week and a half. I'm not going to read them. You'll get this PowerPoint. You can look at them, and it'll also be in the template that I can give you. But the next 3 slides, these are all the questions that you're going to need to respond to. They don't have to be like, 18 paragraphs, but what are your marketing objectives? These could include marketing objectives such as marketing, share, customer. So they're all questions, and you'll just respond not as answering these, but you'll respond as a marketing plan. And that's what you're going to do. Okay, that's the first slide. Now, pricing strategy, promotion strategy. Okay, now, look here. Pricing, place, promotion, product. Those are called the 4 Ps, or we call that marketing segmentation. Okay, so the product. Let's just take you, for instance. You're the product. Where do you want to work? I want to work in Chicago. Oh, well, let's say you're the product and you finished medical school, and now you have to go find a job in a hospital. So how do you do that? Okay, so you're the product. Where do you want to work? Well, maybe you want to work in Hawaii. Maybe you want to work in the Philippines. Maybe you want to work in Chicago or New York or Los Angeles. So that's the place. The price. The price is how much money you would like to make. Not necessarily will you make that, but that's your pricing objective. I want to make $125,000 to start off with. All right? Then you have your promotion. And the promotion is, how are you going to tell people that you exist? There are so many different ways, but the easiest one would be your resume. Okay? So what you're doing is you're building awareness and creating a need for the product or the service. And that is what this class is all about towards the end, your management aspects of it. But you're going to look at a guitar and you're going to say, how am I going to promote it? Well, substitute that guitar for you. Where do you want to work? What do you want to do? How much money do you want to make? How are you going to tell people that you exist? That's the basic basis of marketing. And marketing is about building awareness and creating a need or a want for a product, service, or idea. And I wrote that in 1992. And right after I got a divorce. I was really thinking clear then. Okay, here's the last one. Sorry, you know, I do crack myself up. I have not been married since, but I've had a really nice bunch of girlfriends, and I'm very fortunate. And I've had an amazing life, and I'm not checking out yet, but not until I'm going to Morocco for a couple weeks in September, so I don't want to check out yet. This is what your paper looks like. You can look at, this is APA. I'm giving you examples. I'm going to give you a template. It'll take care of all of this stuff. You could see how you do your references. Make sure your references are in APA. If you don't know how to do in-text citations and references in APA, there's plenty of examples on the internet, or you can look at this slide. So excuses are for people who don't want it bad enough. And keep your eyes open. That'll get your attention. We have any eye doctors? Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's come back to a interesting slide. Okay, so if anybody wants to talk to me and has a question, I'm going to open up the microphones, but don't all talk at once or we're going to lose it. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording first.